Boundless are the teachings of the scribes. May misfortune find you ere the turning of the stars.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Nice little change. It's like what I was talking about before. You set up the status quo and then twist it, right? Change it. No one speaks further of the tempers of the Black Wagon. Everyone is instead preoccupied with the rite that is to come. Is it true then? It's going to be our last chance to go home. The stars always shine with truth. The ending of the cycle of the rites is upon us. Please look forth, reader, and see this for yourself. You may surmise where we are going next. I mean, there's just the one star, so. You are summoned to the fall of Solium for your 7th and final liberation rite. Thus shall the cycle of rites be ended for an age. You sense that if the rites ever commence again, it shall not be during your lifetime, or any of your companions, even the longest-lived ones. The stars reveal to you one thing more. The adversary you face shall be Oralek. Already he has crossed Scribe's Gate and awaits your arrival. If the 8 scribes created the Nightwings in their own likeness, perhaps it's only fitting you should in the end be forced to face yourself. A shame we should have to confront Oralek in the end. Our goal should never have been at cross purposes. I'm surprised this is what the scribes desire. For now, it may be best you recover till dawn. Regain your strength as best you can for the coming trial. Rest well, reader. I kind of want to throw this fight. Like, I kind of just want to throw it, to be totally honest.
Foolish reader, your so-called friends. You are accomplice to their hateful plot. They are exploiting you. You shall never have your freedom.
By dawn, you're already up and about after troubled slumber. Troubled slumber. The Black Wagon is prepared for its final voyage. No one speaks. We'll see what the little cutscene beforehand is like. Reader, a certain olden ballad comes to mind. I think it might befit the circumstances. Perhaps it will help pass the time along our flight. Do it, man. By all means.
When the stars align, the rites shall come to bear. The signs, the exiles shall be all are not the same, but 3 shall be as one. Freedom in flame, the end has just begun. Strength may break our own, but twisted make a great. Together on their own, the journey shall be made. The journey shall be.
That was like a sneeze you can't get out. There, one last exile shall regain his or her freedom. All others shall remain to carry out their sentences down in the downside. That's so funny that I stopped right at the end of the song. I thought that was like I cut the song off. And then in the Commonwealth, the plan of which we are a part shall either come to fruition or be suppressed. Yeah, well, we got a pretty good chance of winning. So let's seek the Crone Scribe's favor. The Scone Scribe. Hear me, O scribes. Long have I served your will, and long have I pursued the path you revealed to me. Our plan now stands on a precipice. If we prevail this night, we may yet achieve its goals. We would reform the Commonwealth under the auspices you yourself describe within your book. As we shall stand together, so I ask you stand with us. By your divine grace, have mercy on Oralek as well. All right, so now that I've read to the end of that book, I believe that fucking Rubber Tree here has a plan, and it means something. kind of like, now I'm less certain, now that I like kind of trust him, that he wants to do what he wants to do. But also I feel really bad for Oralek. Like, Oralek deserves to be free. All right, let's see what Tizo's been up to. The first creature of his kind to come to the Commonwealth. Unique status brought him no shortage of prestige. That's a cool little song. He nonetheless experienced difficulty acclimating. He grew quite despondent, and then at last tracked down Volford's agents, with whom he's working to find a mean to bring more exiles home. He also left you a special message via his most trusted messenger, who says he wants you to know he's doing well, but misses you and hopes to see you again. All right, let's go. Yeah, maybe I'll just play it and see what happens. Tariq and I, it shall be time to take our rest, I think. Greetings, Celeste. I would tell you that the Nightwings are prepared, though this time I'm uncertain that anyone feels thus. We have a duty to uphold, Tariq. I love her. Her character design is my favorite. And then nothing. Not for the rights, or for us. Not till the dawn of a new age. Go! I'll go. Pamitha Thane, I came seeking my blood sister's forgiveness, since she ended up in here because of me. Maybe something good can come of it yet. Sir Gilman of the Sea Dominion, I have been in the background of this game for the whole time, because I'm so annoying. Oh, my name is Bay, and I'm here because the scribes, this is the path that they have shown me and all of us. I like it when they call to me. My name is Volfred Sandalwood. I long to see an age where freedom is one's birthright, and no longer are good people such as these forced to contend with it. Finally, you step forth once more. You, a common wanderer, who simply wants to see their quest to its completion, and who managed to come this far within this group. The gate guardian observes you, and then motions past the archway. The rites are not ended yet, Tariq. We got one more song yet to sing. They're speaking a sort of Latinate gibberish. Alright, there she is. Alright, Beyond Her Crystal wants to have a word. Thank you for visiting on short notice, reader. I understand you have important matters to attend to. Let me be blunt. Listen for a moment. I know this whole affair is coming to an end. All of it. I sense the binds that form the rites becoming weak. Which means soon you will not need me anymore. Not that you've needed me at any point. But still, my services will not be of further use. I would love to tell you this means I'll be free from my eternal prison. For some reason, for some of my Beyonders, it shall be a release. My accomplices are bound by weaker words than those which have bound me. They'll fade away, I think, and finally rest. I, however, shall remain. She hesitates for a moment. Thus, I have a proposition for you. I do not know where you shall go from here, but I ask you to take me there, wherever it will be. By that I mean, take this stone prison and keep it. Don't leave it as all your predecessors have. Soon the Beyond Her Crystal shall serve no use at all, except to keep me trapped. I'm content to remain thus, for I have little choice, but I'd prefer to do so in your company, for I enjoy your company, reader. This may not be much of a compliment, but I assure you I prefer your company to an eternity of solitude. I have no wish to see you gain in years and eventually decay while I remain unchanging, but I'd rather have more years while having contact. Even if those years would be brief, they shall afford me many more in which I might think back upon our times. Nor do I expect you to accommodate my needs, for I am well aware I have my limits in accommodating yours. That is to say, I wish you to go forth after this night and live your life however you see fit. For your own sake, may all this rights business enrich your coming days somehow. And in considering that life after this night, if you think there might be a place in it for me, however small, then once again I ask you take me along. That way, should you ever wish to visit me again, you could. And I would like to have that as an option. More than not. My request here is a selfish one, for there's little I can offer in exchange. I was gonna say yes, but you're still fucking talking. Who knows? You could always sell the Beyond Her Crystal for some reasonable sum somewhere. Something to that end. She also did say she was gonna sing us lullabies. That's pretty cute. There must be someone out there with an interest in this thing. You heard my sad little proposition. What do you say? Fuck you. No, she's coming, obviously. Thank you, reader. She's at a loss for a moment. No, she's not rambling because she's scared. The whole game has a slight overwriting problem. Go and face your remaining adversaries when you crush them under heel and achieve the outcome which you seek. I believe you will prevail.
You have returned.
Welcome back, Ghosty Ghost. Can I equip it as an item? Do I get a bonus from it? No, I don't. Okay, alright. It's the final liberation. Ba-da-dum-bum-bum. Alright, here we go. The lone minstrel finds you clutching the Book of Rites, seeking there perhaps some bit of wisdom that has eluded you so far. Reader, we may not have a chance to speak again after this. I may have to go. I wish to say I'm grateful for having made your acquaintance, and I shall remember you with fondness. I wish you well this night and always. Go forth with glory. And he looks up, it extends his hand in friendship. You clasp it. You see Volfred has joined you. All your companions are there with him, in fact. It is strange for me to say, given the circumstances of our meeting, reader, but it has truly been a pleasure. Onward now. Let us achieve our plan. Shut up. Oh, hi, reader. The others, they said they wanted me to join them and come talk to you, so here I am. The scribes are watching us. Well, reader darling, what do you say we give those old scribes a show to remember, shall we? You look upon your fellow exiles, your companions with whom you've withstood the downside and with whom you should conduct this final rite. Begging your pardon, but my time has come. We shall see each other soon. He departs. After this night, the outcome of Volfred's plan, the plan of which you have all been a part, shall be decided. One way or another. For now, all you can do is strive to prevail against your final adversary, so one last companion may go free. You rise to join your fellow exiles as the last remaining stars ignite. We have to keep going until we are free, which I think is what I said earlier on when I tried to inspire everybody. Let's do it!
Look for one last time upon the fall of Solium, dear reader. Hear me for one last time. For soon the few remaining stars shall fade away, leaving you stranded there for your remaining days in that forsaken land where you deserve to be. The rabble that you roused here in the Commonwealth shall be put down. The exiles whom you liberated, all shall fall in line. But first, let us get on with this last liberation rite.
Right.
You face none other than yourselves. Each so unlike the glorious night wings of yore. 'Tis a shame that one of you shall soon be free.
Okay, douche.
For you deserve each other.
Before the lone minstrel can concur, as per the custom, not another word. The demon Orlek raises his clawed fingers to his mask. The false nightwings have arrived, at last. Long have I awaited this. My freedom once was stolen from me, then I was cheated of it here on this mountaintop. You may now attempt to take it from me once more. Orlek dons his mask. May these damn rites cease forever, for the misery they've caused. I'm with him, like, fuck the rites. Nightwings, we shall not meet again after tonight, for the cycle of rites is all but ended. I would have your decision on whose behalf you conduct this final rite. Godspeed, reader. You know what is at stake better than I. The rest of you remain in downside to the end of your days. Bay, Sir Gilman, Volfred, Pamitha, your fellow exiles, your companions, your friends. Well, I mean, are you prepared to choose this one last time? Is there no other way? Having to make this last decision is unconscionable. It's too much. You hesitate, but then a sense of reassuring voice enter your thoughts. Do not give in, reader. Do not give in. We stand with you. The choice you're about to make, however you go about and whatever the outcome, we understand. And so, you need not hesitate. You need not explain. Trust in yourself. For the rest of us, we trust in you. Reconsider what you're about to do. You cannot back down. But thou must! I thought the game was going to do something cool there. Alright.
One final opportunity for salvation. Too bad for the rest of you.
It's going to be Wood Boy. Long have I dreamt I might somehow see this plan of ours come to fruition. I promise you I shall make the most of it if we're to prevail.
Who shall stand with him?
Blessed are the scribes who grant me and all of us this final chance, that we might free our dear friend Volfred. Not you, Wormo. Never you.
Tamatha.
I wouldn't have wanted to sit this one out, that's for sure, reader darling.
It is done.
Those are to be my adversaries then. And who is it, I wonder, who asserts their will over that group? You sense Orlek searching for you, reaching out to you. You, the shadow of the false Nightwings. They are nothing to me, but you who would relinquish your own liberty for the sake of them, strange. Fitting then I shall have to face one such as you. By light of dawn, the cycle of rights shall cease. Let us see if we can finish this ordeal before that time. The sky above begins to shudder. The final liberation rite is about to commence. Tariq! I am prepared, Celeste. Then let our song this evening shake the stars themselves. Aye, Celeste, let us make sure of it. Final boss music.
Begin. The final chance at liberation for the age.
Whoop. God damn. Ooh! Clever move. That's awesome. Throw the ball to me and then hit me. Very nice. You wear the raiments once again? I could not stand by and knew nothing, Orlek. Yet that is what you did. When last we stood together on this blasted mountain, I fell, you simply stood. Orlek, what shall it take for you to be convinced I took no part in your betrayal? Give me my damn freedom. Let me prevail here and now. Would you promise to uphold our plan, to bring about a better commonwealth? No, I make no promises. I owe you nothing. Then I am sorry, Orlek. My love of country comes before our else. More than your freedom and our friendship is at stake. Your love be damned. Let us stand as adversaries. I am like more and more. I'm feeling Orlek as a smart move here. Like he's. I don't know. The sky rains ash. Soon shall your pyre's own mingle with them. Oh, the sky begins to rain down fire. Seems like bullshit to me. Oh, I see. Good. That's fair and fun and real. No! God damn it! These fucking guys, Jesus. Oops, damn it. Tofu, welcome back. Ah! okay.
Sword ready.
All of you, you shall rot here. You shall rot as I have these many years. You false Nightwings who deny me once again my rightful liberty. You who deny the liberty to all the triumvirates you face and vanquish under the guise of these traditions the blasted scribes. I like him. Let us continue this glorious affair.
How he has changed, that Orlek.
I like bitter Orlek.
And bitter lo these many years.
Whoop.
A shameful outcome. The demon Orlek has dealt a devastating blow. A banishment. Verily.
Yeah, I like how Orlek's like, this is bullshit, you're bullshit, and fuck all of it. Like,
Alas.
oh man, I got 3 left. Your Pyre's flame's starting to die out any moment. Orlek makes it sound like laughter, but nothing. He says nothing as prepares one last assault. Okay. Oop. Ha Oop. Didn't run forward hard enough. Oh, this is probably the end of it.
No. And
There it is.
at last. The true Nightwings proved their worth.
Yeah, now go burn down
The
everything.
Nightwings made them work for it a bit. Thus ends the liberation rite. And thus, the scribes have chosen.
Wolford hangs his head. Orlek appears, his head bowed. For someone who's triumphed, you sense no pride in him. You posed a reasonable threat. Now farewell. You look upon Orlek for what you shall expect should be the last time. Any moment now, the Shimmer Pool shall engulf him. He shall regain his freedom and return to the Commonwealth he's not seen in half a lifetime. Any minute now, the cycle of rights shall end until the dawn of a new age. Any moment now.
And thus, the scribes have chosen. And thus, the scribes have chosen. And thus, the scribes have chosen. No. Nightwings. Reader. What have you done?
I don't know. Nothing happens. Soon Orlek tenses up. Each prior time upon the fall of Solium, the Shimmer Pool is opened, taking in whatever exile prevailed. But now all is still, and the light of the stars has all but died. A growing fear that it is too late. The Shimmer Pool shall not reveal itself again. Orlek laughs to himself. The 8 scribes saved their greatest treachery for last. Wait. A sudden rush of starlight cascades through the stillness of the summit. The Shimmer Pool has appeared again, different somehow, but open. Orlek looks upon it, but does not engulf him. At least not yet. Seems I was mistaken then. The 8 scribes is not their greatest treachery. It's their greatest jest. The Shimmer Pool is flung wide open. All are worthy now of freedom. Just then, Wolfred approaches. What are you saying, Orlek? That we can all return? Wolfred moves closer to the Shimmer Pool, but... Halt, Wolfred. It is a warning. Wolfred recognizes it as such and heeds it. The Shimmer Pool has lost most of its strength. You step inside and surely will perish in the current. Of that I assure you. Orlek shakes his head. Then I am cheated again. No, the Shimmer Pool is revealed and one of you may return. But Orlek is the victor. The choice of who is to return is no longer decided, but is yours. Having to choose from those anointed ere the light of the last star is extinguished and the rites draw to an end, the final trial of the scribes. The final trial? All that remains then is for me to choose myself. Is that what you're saying? If that is to be your choice, then yes. How is this even a choice? What reason would I have to make your decision quickly, lest it shall be forfeit? I know not for how much longer the light of the stars shall offer you this gift. What's up, Dave? Thank you. Why do I hesitate? To have come this far, To have regained what ought to have been mine all those years ago. Why now would I hesitate to claim my right? The final trial of the scribes. I'm gonna let him work it out. He prevailed in the final liberation rite. It's only fitting that he at last decide. I've come here to reclaim what is mine by right. I choose my freedom. In the same instant, you sense his mind is set. It feels to you as though he's free. Then it is done. Orlek stands very still, though his features soften a little, and then he's gone. Accept this, for it is done.
Godspeed, Orlek. By the scribes.
Me, he won. I'm not gonna fuck with
Stars
him.
remain aloft. The cycle of the rites. It is finished. The Commonwealth. What shall become of it? What shall become of us? Nightwings. The opportunity to gain your freedom from the downside. Was it not enough?
That night, the exile Orlek returned to the Commonwealth. He was to be the last. The stars had faded and the cycle of the rites had run its course. He found the Commonwealth in a state of unrest. Spurred by the efforts of 5 liberated exiles, Volfred Sandalwood's revolutionary plan had incited the masses. These exiles in the starless sky portended the return of the scribes. The rulers of the Commonwealth pushed back. Fighting broke out in the streets in spite of Sandalwood's intentions. It was then the winged High-Wing remnants chose to strike. Allegations that the High-Wing remnants were in league with Sandalwood were never proven. However, there was no denying the result of the two-pronged attack. After enduring for almost a millennium, the Commonwealth had fallen. The new Sarian Union declared its sovereignty in the next year. Among the changes its elected leaders ushered in, they vowed never to cast people into exile, and they abolished the old Commonwealth decree forbidding literacy. Seems like a good ending. Today, we still remember all of this. We remember the exiles of the downside whose deeds led to the dawning of our age, whether they returned or not. Okay. After his liberation, Hedwyn was instrumental in the events of leading to the fall of the Commonwealth, and he was vital to the outcome of the plan. He was the one who led the raid on the stronghold where Archjustice Androbeles IX... Oh, the voice was the Archjustice. Okay. What a dick. Fuck that guy. With him, then and thereafter, it was one of the Winged Harps, later identified as Fikani Shang. Their bond was vital to the peace that followed. In all his days as a leader in the Sarian Union, Hedwyn oft confided in his friend, Judariel. Despite her intense manner, there was no one he trusted more in times when circumspection was required. Hedwyn would often think back to the vow he made at the beginning of his quest for freedom. Though he cherished all the friendships he made, he had pledged to Judariel, Rookie Greentail, and the Reader of the Nightwings they might all be free again together. He had broken that vow, for in the end, not all of them were able to return. A terrible guilt over this darkened his mood for a time. However, the others, whom he still knew, lifted his spirits, and much like he had lifted theirs, all of the Nightwings knew the stakes. While the others, who stood with the Nightwings, were not able to return in contact thus, Hedwyn thought of them often, and so they often thought of him. Oh my god, I am not interested in hearing everyone's stories. That is just like so much information to jam pack at the end of the game. I'll pick a few that I care about, but like, wow. that is a lot. That is a large expectation. All right, so the gold anointed are the ones that made it out, I guess. And then the like blue ones are the ones that stayed behind. So let's find out what happened. I am interested in, obviously, this sweet lady. After her liberation, Judariel became an icon of the movement that led to the collapse of the Commonwealth and the rise of the Sarian Union. Yeah, as with the rest of the game, I can, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to pick my favorites. Exactly. Her military prowess and experience led to key victories in clashes against the Commonwealth loyalists. Each time, she was able to subdue the opposition, avoiding lethal force. In the uncertain times that followed, Judariel's seasoned expertise came into play both in matters of security and state. She conscripted and trained a team of volunteers in public safety. The community did not know what to make of such a cordial bunch at first, but came to value their service. They've stood for people ever since, and celebrate their founding day every year. She remained close with Hedwyn through this experience. They supported each other through the struggles many, many times. She often had to stop herself from fearing for Bay, who she tried to look after as much as possible on the downside. Soon, she would reassure herself that Bay was very capable of surviving on her own, and in fact, she was not mistaken. She continued training on her own, a regimen that grew stricter with each passing year. There were those who sought to train with her, and she sometimes obliged. There remained one other constant in her life. She would always remember her days among the Nightwings with fondness, for the most part. All right, Bay, I want to know what happened to you. Not long after the rites had ended, Bay admitted she knew well she would not be going home again, and that she had a very strong feeling. She ended up not minding very much because she had little to return to in the Commonwealth. Her sense of home had changed. She took from wandering one celestial landmark to the other, ever paying homage to the 8 scribes who she believed it inspired all that should inspired. She was no stranger to traveling alone, but was happy to have company. Through it all, she wondered how her little friend Tizo had fared. They were divided now by a great distance. He always remained in her heart. They could not see each other any longer. Bay often thought about Jadariel and spoke to her as if she were there. Bay tried never to make a decision without first consulting the idea of what Miss Jadariel would say. Whenever she felt genuine doubt, which was not very often, she sought the reader of the Nightwings. If there was anyone she trusted as much as the scribes, it was them. One day, she encountered one of her former adversaries, one called Almer Oldheart, who'd served the Fate. She remembered him much more than he did her, though only just at first. Their shared experience in the Rite and their different points of view about the scribes formed the basis of what grew to be long-lasting friendship. Bale was always devoted to her faith, but more so to her friend. Her gentle manner and unwavering conviction often helped them brave life and the downside, both with courage and with grace. Well, that's nice. They ended up being friends. Don't super care about really anybody else. How about you, big boy? How'd you do? In the aftermath of the Rite, Orlek returned to his nation when he had not seen in 2 decades. Scarce recognized that it was in the middle of transformation. A social and cultural upheaval sparked by Volfred Sandalwood's plan. When Orlek witnessed the people of the Commonwealth, yeah, Sandra's a good call, I'll check in with her in a second, gathered in solidarity under the black sky there on the night of Scribe's return, he looked on in silence for a time. Then the Highwing remnants descended, and a panic quickly spread among those gathered. A pitched battle in the streets. It was chaos. Orlek observed all this, then took a step toward the fray. He knelt beneath the nearest injured man, staunched the man's bleeding, and set an injured leg, then pulled him to a safer corner of the street. Orlek's old abilities as a physician had not left him. Thus did he aid as many as he could throughout that night until the danger passed. History would know him as the Demon Doctor, a term of endearment that struck even after his horns started to recede. Okay, they do go away, all right. He lent his skill and service throughout the birth of the Sarian Union. Having witnessed the aftermath of Sandalwood's plan, Orlek understood at last what his former companion wanted. Years ago, they conceived of a version of this plan. Now Orlek found he wished Sandalwood could be present to witness the reality of it. Orlek later reunited with Tizo, who took residence with him. In some ways similar to how they lived in olden times, the imp always enjoyed his company. Alone with his thoughts, Orlek would visit the memorial of fallen leaders of the Commonwealth. Though, other than appearances and notwithstanding his duties as a master physician, he led a very private life. Few would have guessed he was once one of the most accomplished rites conductors in the history of the Nightwings. History, of course, shall ensure we never forget. Where's Sandra? Okay, last one. After the cycle of rites ceased turning, records of what happened to the Black Wagon became inconclusive and contradictory. Some accounts suggest the exiles of the Nightwings who remain in the downside continue to make use of the Black Wagon as their place of shelter and their means of travel. However, there's no record of what happened to the wagon's contents, such as the Book of Rites, the Beyonder Crystal, said to be haunted by the apparition of Sandra the Unseeing. One possibility is that when the minstrel took his leave, he took the crystal, for he was thus obliged. By this line of reasoning, the Black Wagon itself should have been taken also. Others remain skeptical that the Beyonder Crystal ever existed, or rather the vision of it granted, were anything other than the result of an active imagination or a fever dream. The bog dwellers of the Sudden Bogs still offer another explanation, for they are familiar with binding enchantments. If there existed such an object in which the Sisters of the Arch had been expelled for more than 100 years, the enchantment would have expired along with the light of the stars. What this would have meant for Sandra is difficult to say for certain, other than it would have meant they were finally released. So she either disappeared or became a person. Can you believe this, reader? Honestly, Sandra has appeared before you as well, you can see. They're so far from the mark with all this nonsense, I'm wont to laugh. In fact, here goes. Ha ha ha. She's referring to the account of her. You sense she doesn't care for it. Let them gossip all they like. I merely wish they would mention you, at least in passing, when next they're at it. Though they'll never know the half of it, shall they? You let Sandra have her moment. The flash of anger passes, and she's back to her usual self. It is no matter, I suppose, though they ought to have mentioned you at least. Yeah, and there's nothing you can say that she'll convince me otherwise. Anyway, let's keep going. After the cycle of the rite ceased turning, the lone minstrel bade the remaining Nightwings take the Black Wagon and seek their fortune elsewhere. Their parting was heartfelt but brief. He remained there at the summit of Mount Elodiel with Celeste, where the two of them would chronicle the final outcome of the cycle. Neither Tariq nor Celeste were ever seen again. We know all this now through song attributed to them. Some claim these songs originated in the taverns of the Sarian Union and merely were imbued with the weight of folklore. However, exiles liberated from the downside corroborate each other's claims of having met the duo that presided over the rites. Another folktale suggests they were heralds of the scribes. Having fulfilled their obligations, they departed the world we know and rejoined their patrons. One of their famous songs described another, simpler outcome, that they gave up their duties so they could share a life together. In any case, they're likely to remain the subject of such verse and such songs, for it was they who watched over the rites and ushered in our times. How do I go? How do I leave? Like I'm done. Is there no way to like go to the credits, like an actual ending for the game, or what do I do?
A kind gesture.
You have to read through all of them. What? Oh, that's so silly. All right. Barker Ashpaws never had much interest in returning to the Commonwealth, for he always found its bylaws to be stifling, so when the rites ended, he didn't care. He grew bored. The rites had given his life a sense of structure. He missed the raw anticipation of it all. He decided to continue conducting the rites for the thrill of it. He bent some of the rules and replaced some of the objects, but it was close enough. His pack mates proved more than happy to participate and ran against each other back in the Jomer Valley. Oh, so he started another competition, and then they kept doing the rites. That's, okay, that's cute. Now, I legitimately don't care. I'm going to skip through all these other ones. But this is a really forced... Like, just make me read these, or, like, tell me about it while we're doing the credits. This is really terrible design. Like, false choice. My two least favorite things in games are being told something instead of being shown it and being given false choices. I feel like it's just so blech. I don't like it. Oh, they do tell me about it, so I get more in the credits? Oh boy, okay. No, you can't, nothing backs you out of this screen. You have to press on. I pressed every button on my controller. Well, if there was a skip button, they could say, "Are you done?" That's really easy to do.
Spectacular. Siltavidias.
Well, it's not hard to avoid it. Just give me an option to engage with the way that I want. Don't force me to like sit here and like I'd like a bunch of those characters I didn't care about. Here we go. There's one more account which warrants mention. It's me! The Nightwings conducted the rites under the guidance of a reader. Little is known of them. However, some accounts of them begin to paint a picture. We know they were of common birth, always directionless, and prone to misremembering at times. The journey to Downside left them close to death. It was then that the Nightwings found them, brought them from the brink, showed them the path. They pressed onward with the others. They didn't know how far their path would lead. Thus did the cycle of the rites commence its final turns. By the time the final rite arrived, the reader knew they could not go free. In the end, like so many others, they remained in exile. From that point on, accounts of them diverge. It is said the voice which troubled them they never heard again. Some say they opted for a place to settle in the downside, though whether that's true, only they know. Someday perhaps a reader's own star shall emerge. Then it shall pierce the dark of night in all its brilliant glory. Till such time and ever after, all of us give thanks.
Their journey began on a barren waste where the reader arrived, afraid and alone. When they arrived, the book of rites
This is really cool.
awakened the night wings and ignited the flame. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in our brain till the end. We sing of the last of the night wings who, having broken the cycle, shall live on in song.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Headwind prevailed and strode the path that his heart laid
See,
before.
this is perfect. This is what you should have done. Why did you give me all that horse shit first? Why? If you had this, why did you make me do that other thing? Oh my god.
Dariel,
Ah!
mother to many a foundling, she has found her way home. Rookie Greentail has proved his worth and returned to his family by the grace of the scribes. They follow the stars.
No, this is a 1,000 times better way of communicating information than forcing players to dig through an almanac of forced stuff.
Our illustrious champion returns. Welcome home.
Feels the scribes in the heart of the downside. She remained to the end.
Tizo prevailed, first of his lowly kind, to ascend.
This is so good.
Side. He has found a new home. Sir Gilman the Bold, duty bound to honor the night wings. He remained to the end. Amethyst Thane, born on guilt.
Yes. Oh, that art is so good.
Never seeking forgiveness. She
Badass.
remained to the end.
Yeah, the song it changes depending on what you choose.
Follow the stars.
Right? So cool. This is literally the coolest part of the whole game.
Strands in our brain till the end. Bound together, spirits together, strands on
Oh, Sarah Elmaleh, I know her. Cool.
The great mastermind, Wolfred Sandalwood, saw his plans turn to action. He remained till the end.
The enchanter Bertrude made her rivals pay with the darkest of curses. She has found her way home.
Yeah, if there's like 150 versions of the song, that epilogue is so nearly irrelevant. Yeah, special thanks to these folks.
To the stars, we shall find our way home. We shall find our way home. We shall find our way home.
Oh, well, look where we are. Look familiar, anyone? Yeah. It's the title screen, but without all the fucking fire and stuff. Cool. Just gonna hang out here. True Nightwing campaign mode unlocked. Return to the title screen. Okay, so let's talk briefly about this game. Shall we? I would not have played it had I known that it was as visual novel-y as it was. Nobody told me. Nobody warned me about that. I do not like visual novels. I will only play them if they're very short or very well edited. This... God, I think that's like the biggest hit. Like, so for me, this game wasn't really, it's not really for me. I'm not a great audience for it because I like the lore. I love the art. I love that stuff. But the way it's expressed through the game, which is to say visual novel, not for me, not my jam. That's just a personal choice. That says nothing about the game. Now, the game itself dramatically needed some editing in terms of how much text there was. If they cut out every time the like, he approaches you looking gloomy, he thinks about this, or he does this, like there's 2 or 3 additional screens that weren't necessary, right? No, I distinguish between a dating sim and a visual novel, and I think games like Valhalla are like it's more like a dating sim than that. So it just felt like whiplash back and forth between, I wanted way more of the basketball game. We could have cut like 30% of the text from the game and given us 30% more basketball playing, and then tie that into the game. The game couldn't even stop itself from interrupting the basketball part mid-game with more text. I didn't need all that. I feel like there's a lot of additional text there that we didn't need, and I feel like the reason why I didn't really like that was that it was badly fleshed out. Like they couldn't fit the 2 separate games together in a way that felt good to me. Persona, I think, does this really well. We talked about that. Persona moves back and forth in a way that's like mostly nuanced, and the pacing of a game like Persona is very good. By the time you're sick of the dungeon in Persona, it's like, oh, guess what? You're done with the dungeon. In this, I was like, I felt pretty much like, just shut up. Just stop, shut up, or give me something like really interesting. But the other thing that I don't like about games, the other thing that made this game not for me, is that it was almost all tell and very little show. There was too much, like, the game was an action moment, and it was like, here's action. We're doing the ball game thing, and then it was like, whoop, hold on. Here's 6 or 7 lines of dialogue. Okay, back to the ball game. Right? I would have liked it to have just been like, here's the action sequence. Do that a little longer, like lengthen the games or something, change the structure so that they take a little longer. I felt really jarred out of the part of the game that I was enjoying by their constant interrupting. The rhythm and pacing between the game modes seemed to be a thing that they had some problems with, in my mind, which is the only feedback I can give. There's no objective like this game is good or bad. That doesn't exist. There's just why I did or didn't like it. So I'll say the music obviously was amazing. Supergiant, they do music and they do visual design really well. Their game design is hit and miss. It's just like, it's not... There are ways to tie narrative and gameplay together, but this game, I feel like it didn't do it right. It didn't do it well enough. They were too separated from one another. That all we really got was some story during the ball games where you would randomly stop and get interrupted, and then you would get the structure of the narrative talking about how important the rights are, but the right is not, it's not enough. I feel like the game wanted so badly to tell us about what cool ideas they had, they forgot how to include us in those ideas. That's the strength of a game, right? This is why I don't really like visual novels that much, because games are about choice, and I felt like anytime the visual novel part of the game had a choice for me, it was like, yeah, but your choice doesn't like really matter, right? And it tried to fake it, right? It tried to be like, yeah, you made a decision about how to inspire your group that did nothing except inform a reference later, that winked at us and said, remember when you made a choice? We remember. Sort of irrelevant. I really, really like... So the best part about the game, the absolute, hands down best part, coolest thing, was that failure did not mean the game was over. Failure was when your choices actually mattered, right? So it didn't... In the visual novel part, it treated you like your choices mattered, but they didn't. But then in the actual ball game, the best part of the game, winning or losing affected the ongoing narrative in a really interesting way. I mean, hell, we lost the last fight. And I think that is probably the coolest part of the whole game. Period. Like, hands down. I think that's the coolest thing this game did. I thought that the whole epilogue was, obviously, like we just talked about it, massively ham-handed. I hated it. I hated every moment of it. Even the characters I was interested in, I was like, gosh, shut up. I don't need 17 pages of text about this character. But I really liked the variable ending sort of cinematic thing. I thought that was really cool. And I can't think of another song that has handled that. I think that Supergiant is great at aesthetics, auditory and visual aesthetics, and they're still figuring out how to make games out of that. And I think that's actually a common small studio problem. They're commonly, I think, quite good at... Like, we had this problem when we played Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. Fantastic idea, very cool aesthetics, great writing. Not a good game, fundamentally. Pyre is a better game than that, but they've also had more like practice and put some time into it. I am not of the mind that simply being invited to the story is a reward, And I felt like this game leaned too hard on that. I don't play games, and this is ironic given that I care a lot about stories. I don't play video games to be rewarded by the story. The story should be good and nice. I expect a well-written game, but I expect a well-written game, right? A nice novel attached to a patchy design is not... It's not enough for me. I like Transistor a lot more. I liked Bastion more than I liked Pyre, but of the three, I absolutely 100% liked the aesthetic of this game, like just miles more. And I love Transistor. I thought Transistor was beautiful. This is better. Pyre is a visual, it's a feast for the eyes and the ears. Not so much fun to play. And this is the thing. Going back to the beginning, had someone told me this is a pretty looking visual novel, I would have looked at the art online and I would not have played the game. I would have just been like, I don't need to sit through this. I'll go read a book, right? I think if you have a story you want to tell and you have beautiful graphics that you want to tell that story with, and you don't really want to give you don't really want to do like the meshing of those things with game design, like make a comic book. This would have been a way better comic. I do think, again, I think the one thing that freed you from that, the one thing that really did embrace that this was a game, right? One thing you could not get anywhere else is the pathing and the choice bits about that. That stuff I think you would lose. And so whether they did it in a way that I found fun or not, I do think they tried to make it so that your choices mattered, and I'm monstrously thankful about that. I think that everything, a book, a movie, a TV show, a comic, really needs to embrace its media. And the fact that this is a video game, I think that they fell a little short on making it a good game. I think you can have good games with lots of text. I don't know necessarily that this did exactly what I would have hoped for in that regard. Yeah. So yeah, great graphics, great music, some very cool ideas about choice in a game. Too much text, too much visual novel stuff for me. Not really that compelling storylines for any given character, enough to push me through that. And that's just my opinion. Maybe you have different thoughts about the game, but either way, thank you for watching. This has been Pyre by Supergiant Games, and I've been Adam Coble. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll see you for the next playthrough.